All right, g'day, hi, and welcome. It is Tuesday. Guess what, guys? I did it. I finished my first draft of my first book. Yay! Yay! Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I accept this award. Thank you. Anyway, yeah. So I finished it last night. Now the real work begins. I was gonna walk over to the hall today and see if I can borrow a laptop from them with stuff like that. But I'll probably do it tomorrow because I got to go. Got a couple of missions to do tomorrow. Got a little job to do in the morning. They got to go pay a bunch of bills, like a lot of bills. And then on my way back, I got to do other things. Stop, get some more books. Books. Yeah. So very happy last night. So I'm page 400 on this one. This one's getting crazy. This one is so good. I can't wait to review this for you guys. If I could write a book as good as that, that'd be very happy. Or even a book as good as this. you know, I think my book's going to be pretty good. I think people are going to like it. It's just, can I get it revised? Like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it. Like I say, as soon as you're done your draft, take a week or two off from it, like a month off from it. I don't want to take that much time off because I don't have a lot of time in the year to work on this, right? As soon as March, April comes around, I start working again, and I'm going to be too tired to spend hours and hours and hours on it a night like I've been doing. My goal is to get the book out by the end of the year, at the at the earliest. At the latest, I want it done by next year for sure. I'll keep I gotta start. I started it. Okay, I'm gonna finish it. It's a big project. Will it be successful? Well, I'm doing this with like no budget, right? The big issue I have now is getting it to digital. Then once I get to digital, then I got to print it out so I can read it. I'll have to basically read about 30 to 40 pages a night to read the book at least once a month. And I think, I'll be my first beta reader will be me, right? I'll catch a lot of stuff just in the reread, right? And clean up this, once I get everything, sorted out the way, okay, yeah, I like the way it's sorted out, then I get to the more technical detail stuff. I'll try to do as much as I can, but I know as soon as I get a proper program and a fully functioning computer, keyboard, that it'll catch most of the spelling mistakes and stuff like that, and the grammar mistakes possibly. But I'll get a bunch of beta readers later on, and what I'll do is I'll get it digitally done. Then as a manuscript, I'll source it out. I'll just send it to people who have the time to critique it, beta readers. Basically they get a free story, right? So, I don't care how many beta readers I get. If it's 100, it's 100. You know what I mean? Most people get like 2 or 3 beta readers, but I'm like going with the idea. But the more eyes I have on it, the more people are going to catch this, catch that, whatever. And then plus just rereading it, reading it out loud. My first reading of it is going to have to be out loud. So that's going to be slow. But, once I hear it out loud, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, that doesn't work. And, I'll edit and stuff like that. So as I'm typing it out, read it out loud. Okay, fix this, fix that. Okay, oh, hey, wait a minute, I already covered this. Once I get rid of like the redundant stuff out of the book, I've already cut out quite a bit just from rewriting it, or writing it out, like from the original story, right? Which was basically done, in an audio video, right? So basically think of it like the audio book out before the book, right? And the cool part about that is that it like cleans up the story a lot just from that. And I'm 444 pages. So if I go, I know for sure I have at least 180 words per page. Probably closer to 200, but guaranteed 180 words. So right there, you're at 40,000, 72,000, 72, 70, hang on, what is it, 70, what is it? Yeah, let's do this again, okay. So, 40,000, 72,000, 76,000, about 80,000 words, thereabouts, close to 80,000 words. So if I have 80,000 words, and let's say by the time I revise it, it's like 54,000 words, it's still going to be, we'll say, between this big and this big. So that's pretty good for me. Like a lot of people get so hung up on the word count, right? How many words do I have? I'm not doing that because it's like, okay, well, I have to hit 100,000 words. Okay, well, if your story doesn't require 100,000 words, don't try to write 100,000 words. If your story requires 100,000 words, write 100,000 words. That's one nice thing about self-publishing is that you're not on the hook. Say, well, okay, your novel has to be exactly over 50,000 words or 60,000 words. Like that's what we're paying you for. But the story might not take that much. I'd rather a tighter story than look for filler. I've read one book so far that had filler in it like that, where it's just like, okay, it's kind of like they're just trying to get the word count up now. You know what I mean? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. That'll dull your book. Like every word in your book should have a purpose. An example: this book, and definitely this book. There's no filler in this book whatsoever. This is all pure story. Like it's so well done that. So I'm very excited about that. That's a big accomplishment. Pencil and paper is the easy, right? It's the typing or whatever that's going to take forever. Plus I don't have the equipment right now. Like I have two computers. Well, technically I have 3 laptops. All of them have screwed up. 4 technically. That's just the other one I just got there. They threw it out at the school. I took it home just to see if it would work. It doesn't, so well. But it was missing the plastic on the keys, and you never know. I thought, well, maybe they threw it out just because it was missing the plastic on the keys, and maybe it still works, right? You never know. People do stuff like that, right? So I'll try it anyway. I do. I want to buy another laptop, but something good. I need something that's going to be able to. It's quite the investment to get the laptop. I've been needing one for years, So I got to do whatever I got to do, right? And the thing is that what I'm going to try to do is somehow get it converted to digital and edit the thing. I do have my own printer, but I think my printer's all gummed up, so I don't know if it'll print. I bought a $30 printer, and the little thing in it, it gums up on you, and you got to be able to clean it so it functions again. I don't want to go out and buy another printer when I have one that I know works, right? So it's like, and then print it out. Why? Because it's easier to read a piece of, a chunk of paper. And I don't think paper's that expensive. So if I need a stack of paper like that, I think is about 300 sheets or 100 sheets or whatever it is. Maybe 200 sheets, whatever. I need 400, right? So let's say it cost me $30 of paper and $60 or $70 worth of ink, ink cartridges to print the whole book. I'm okay with that. That doesn't bug me. That's a lot. It's a lot, but it makes it reading a lot easier. but I'm only going to print it out once I've done like say 10 revisions. It's just I can't sit there and stare at a computer reading like that for like 30, 40 pages at a time, right? So my goal is more to, read the paper, do the edits and corrections as I go, which is going to be slower in the short term, but faster in the long run, right? Because it's like you go over it, you just get it all in one shot. You know what I mean? So you read, say, 10 pages, you type out 2 perfectly, and you make your corrections and whatever, mark up the paper, right? Kind of like the way the teacher would do your homework. And you can, make little notes. Okay, put a note here. Okay, from here to here, correct this, 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 this. So if it takes my word count down a bit, that's fine. Like as long as I'd like to have at least like something that qualifies as a novel. Like I'd like to be in the 65,000 word plus, just so that everybody that argues where a novel is, some people say it's 50,000 words, some people say it's 65, right? So if you have 65, well, then everybody agrees it's a novel at that point. That's the goal, But if it doesn't work out that way, maybe I'll end up with 35,000 words. Okay, well then it's a novelette or novella, whichever you want to. People call it different things. So the way it's supposed to be is like anything under 35,000 words is considered a short story, right? Anything over between 35,000 and 50,000 words is considered a novella. Or novelette, whichever you want to call it, and anything over 50,000, or 65,000 words. So it could be 35,000 to 50,000, or 35,000 to 65,000 words. Again, I don't really care where the book lands. I don't care if it lands in novella territory. That's fine, as long as the story's so good that people really like it. I don't mind it being a bit short. My second book's probably, which I'll start working on that again tonight. I will give you guys a little teaser maybe by Friday if I can, if I have time. I got to bring all, I'll pick a part of the story that I think you'll find really intriguing, just so you can get an idea of what you're in for. I'm going to have to figure out how to promote this thing on the cheap, extreme cheap. Because people will spend like $10,000 in advertising and they don't sell a book, a single book, right? There's way more ways to do it wrong than there is to do it right. And nobody, like every author, like even authors that have written like say 20 books, they're like, yeah, I'm still figuring it out. Like it's never, it's like you're putting something out in the world, trying to get people to buy it, right? In a tough economy, and with. Look, again, I got a floor full of free books. You know what I mean? Like there's almost 100 books there are free. So how do you get somebody to buy that first book? You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough. I do believe there is ways to do it. I think, I would love to be able to just splot a whole bunch of money down, right? And just say, okay, here, type this out for me. I'll work with you with it. Do all the editing, do all that. Like the big authors, they do 10 rounds of editing. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. I can't afford that. Not at $2,000 a pop. You know what I mean? $2 to $3,000 a pop. The professional edit is what costs the most. Understandably, it probably takes a person like a month to do that, right? Maybe 2 weeks to a month to do that. I have no qualms about paying people. It's just I don't have anything to pay them with. That's the problem, right? And time for services. Okay, you work on mine. I work on. Well, it's the same problem. You know what I mean? It's the same problem. I don't have the time either. It's kind of like I have to pay somebody else to get, pay those who specialize, right? But before I even do that, the way I'm going to do the strategy is like this. I'm going to basically release the book, self-published, do as much myself as I can, self-edited, whatever, for round one. So the first book, when it comes out, let's say the first book starts catching on and it looks like it's, I'm selling 20, 30 books a week. Like we'll go wishful thinking like that. And I know a lot of people say that's not much. That's a lot. That's a lot for the average person that puts out a book. They're lucky if they sell 100 books out of it. Like the average book sells way less than 100. Probably more realistically is probably the average book probably sells way less than 5 or 10 copies, right? You sell 5 or 10 copies, that's your book. You know what I mean? That's the average author. That's what's going to happen to the average author. The odd person gets lucky. Like there was one lady, like her first time writing a book. People watched her short. She did a YouTube short. They got a kick out of it. They said you should write a book about it. She did. And she made like $130,000 that year on the book. So it can happen. It can happen, right? But it's like you got to understand, like it's a very uphill battle to be able to sell it. I would love to be able to sell it, right? But my goal is more to say, here's staking the flag, the feather in the cap, that I produced a novel, right? So that's why the first rendition of it is probably going to be, like, obviously I'm going to use like editing software and everything like that. I'll beta read it 10 times minimum. I'll see if I can get other people to beta read it. Once I have a manuscript, I'll let people know. And it's only for those that are like really to give me feedback, like really quick on, in all areas, like if you catch like spelling mistakes or whatever, just, mark the, on what page and what words you saw that were out or misused, or like the wrong word, like two and two, right? Like, sometimes the TO and the TOO get mixed up. People do this mistake all the time. Guilty, here I go. There, and there, right? It's just, when you're writing that many words, sometimes it's just, like your brain just goes on like kind of like a into like some sort of a trance where it just like puts out whatever, like you're thinking this word but you use the other word. That's the stuff I'm more worried that I won't catch, is the grammar and the punctuation stuff, in the right place. Most of it I probably get right. It's just, I know I'm going to misspell a lot of words, and spell check doesn't always work. Because some words, like, you actually have to sit there with the dictionary. It's like, okay, there's like 4 different spellings for this word, and each word kind of means something slightly different. Or you correct it really fast, and you actually corrected, you meant to correct it with this word, but you grabbed that word, and you didn't, and then it no longer shows as a mistake, so it's now hidden there until you read it out loud. Oh, geez, that's the wrong word. Got to correct that, right? So, yeah, so that's what's going to take time. So, the earliest I could see this book coming out would be the end of April. That would be the absolute earliest. Possible, yes. Likely, probably not. Probably closer to November. Depending on how fast I can get through things, and depending on how much, like, again, my living expenses now are, between $12,000 and $14,000 a year, right? So, like that. Like I've got a lot on my plate, right? So like I'm not a wealthy man. I don't really have savings. You know what I mean? I still need a vehicle again. It just, it's not like life is not getting easier for me. Again, I'm not the only one. But I get that. You know what I mean? Like it is like, for example, I am going to buy a backup bicycle. I mean, the Maroon Marauders, like, it's done me well. That bike has done me so well, But it's just it's too small for me, and I need something, for my older age. I just need a bike that fits me perfectly. I don't mind if it's a cheaper bike. I'll get my money's worth out of it. That's no problem. And I do like cycling too, so it's just I need something more comfortable. So if I have to. I don't know when I'm going to get my next vehicle. Like, they're not getting, like, even the shitty stuff is like really expensive. Like, it's hard to find a vehicle around here for under $8,000. Like, who knew, right? like the $500 wonders, yeah, they're great and dandy and all, but they're kind of a waste of money in for convenience wise, because if you're lucky, you get a year out of them, right? For $500, that's great. But then at the end of the year, it's like, okay, you're walking again. So it's really, really difficult to do that. So it's like I need a reliable vehicle, and like I have no faith in vehicles whatsoever, not even brand new ones. Like it's not so much just getting the vehicle; it's having the money to be able to take care of the vehicle, right? And up here, you have to have a vehicle. You just have to. Like I'm gonna need multiple vehicles just for reliability's sake. So I want to have like my motorcycle. I'd like to get that fixed up, but I'm probably gonna get another cheaper motorbike, like even something really cheap. Like something really cheap, like a scooter would help me out. You know what I mean? Like anything like that. But it has to be something that can go on the road, like a four-wheeler. That'd be great and all, but like I got to go to the neighboring town, and it's I can't really drive through the town with the four-wheeler, right? Or the side-by-side or whatever. But like a moped, I could. You know what I mean? Yeah, people laugh at me on a moped, but I don't give a shit. As long as it's dirt cheap, I'll take it. I'll put some saddlebags on it so I can carry some tools. A car is ideal. But like I just need something that's reliable. Like just something that, like okay, really cheap to run. Get a cheap car. Get a cheap. Get a truck and a car. That'd be ideal. So at least when one breaks, I have time to fix. I'd like to have at least 3 vehicles. Like I say, a motorcycle, like a real motorcycle would be better. But then there's the insurance, right? Like like it's if you get a motorcycle under 500 cc's, it's usually going to be pretty good. You know what I mean? Like for like especially on fuel, like you're gonna like get like a Ninja 300 or something like that. Okay, yeah, everybody laughs. It's a beginner bike or whatever, but they run and they run and they run and they run. You know what I mean? And the nice thing about them is that they run on fumes. Okay, you're not going to win any races, granted. But I've had lots of bikes in the 500 cc range, and yeah, they won't keep up with the big tour bikes. That like that just is what it is. Okay, fine. A 650 can keep up with most big bikes, but you're working it hard. But the problem is like the guys on the big bikes, they want to speed all the time. They want to be cruising at like 140, which is 80 miles an hour, right? The speed limit's like 90 to 100 around here. So there's some areas where it's 110, but kilometers an hour. But even at that, like like most of the time, I'm not going to be riding in big groups anyway. So something that has good, like you can get 1100 cc motorbike and it'll still get better mileage than a 4-cylinder car, right? Like so there's that too. But I don't want a big heavy tour bike per se. You know what I mean? I want something a little bit more nimble. I can't afford the sport bike. A naked bike would be cool. It gives you a sport bike geometry, a little bit more upright. Think like Ducati Monster, or Triumph Triple, something like that. That'd be cool. Have a lot of fun with that. The insurance is a lot less. The FZ 650 stuff like that. Like FZR 6 is what my cousin has. It's a 650. He loves it. Like it's big enough. Again, if you're not double riding and all that. But again, it's more to get it cheap, right? Kawasaki 6-speed Kawasaki LTD 440, like I used to have. That was like one of the most excellent bikes. I mean, that thing got like 75 miles to the gallon. It was like ridiculously good on fuel, and I rode it everywhere. But the only thing is like after like an hour or so on the highway, the thing would get pretty hot. You know what I mean? Like you had to give it. It wasn't a tour bike, So I don't want to go below 500 cc's. But I also don't want a big, heavy bike that's like under 650 cc's. Like, what was it? Those V Stars. You know, like the Yamaha V Star. You can get them like from 650 right up. The 650, I rode that during my. It was very comfortable bike. There's no doubt about that. You ride that thing all day. It, you know, had floorboards. It was kind of hard. It had these gigantic fucking beach bars out the ear, but you know, it was fun to ride, but for the weight of it, you know what I mean? It was way too heavy for. It was a bike you're low and slow. You know, like if you wanted to ride all day on the highway, as long as you were by yourself, if you wanted a passenger, you had a lot of extra. The bike was just a lot of extra weight. You know, like not enough motor for that much weight. I'm sure the 1100 would be like a freight train, but you know, yeah. So cheap on insurance. Get a car that's cheap on insurance because I can get 3 vehicles on one policy, right? And then maybe I get Thunder fixed up or something like that because that's going to cost me like $4 to $8 grand to fix that up. It needs to be resafetied, so got to do all the brakes, got to do all the, you know, all that stuff, windshield. You know, like it just, you know what I mean, like, but for $8 grand, you know, you could find a pretty decent vehicle for $8 grand. You know what I mean? If you know, like maybe trucks, it's definitely going to be like a truck 10 or 15 years old. Like a 10-year-old truck is still 20 grand. Like that's fucking unbelievable. You know what I mean? And there's rust on it. You know what I mean? Like for 20 grand, there better not be any rust on it. You know what I mean? It's nuts. I can't believe the price of vehicles right now. But I am looking more for the you know, like Japanese stuff because again, I don't know what's gonna happen. I know like import stuff like Honda and stuff like that. The nice thing about the Hondas is they barely break, but when they do, Honda, Mitsubishi, Toyota, whatever, the parts are about 3 times the price of anything domestic, right? But that might not be the case in, say, like this time next year, you know, with all that's going on, right? Trump has the auto industry in a complete fucking disaster right now. So parts are going to be getting very, very, very expensive. So that's why, like, I'd love to get another Dodge Ram because I love the Dodge Rams, right? But on the other hand, you know, it's not just about that. It's about, you know, it's about having something reliable, right? That you could still get parts for. So the Asian stuff, that the parts for that aren't affected yet by the tariffs, right? Because they're not made in the States, or, you know, they're made in Japan. And right now we're doing a lot of trade deals with Japan that might make their vehicles even more competitive here. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what I can get away with. But yeah, because I'd definitely like to have a truck and a car. But like, it's to get something that's like, you know, like an SUV would do me for now. You know what I mean? Because I have the money for the vehicle, and I need a vehicle that I can tote my tools with. So a minivan, an SUV. Like for example, yesterday my client picked me up in her little car. I forget what it is. A little Mitsubishi thing there. Like I could barely fit my pick. My roof rake, the handle was right to the dash. You know what I mean? I couldn't get my big snow scoop in there. There was no chance of that. It literally would not be able to do that. So like these little cars, like say like a Fiat 500 or something like that, they're just too small. You know what I mean? Like economical, yes, but too small. Basically, like my Dodge Avenger, that was like the perfect size car. Because it wasn't it was more sedan sized, right? Well, it was a sedan, so it was 4 doors. So I love 2-door cars, sure. You know, they look great, but they don't make good work vehicles. You know what I mean? Like they just don't. You know what I mean? But the thing about the Dodge Avenger is like I had like 500 pounds of tools in that car at all times. That car was crazy. I loved it. Like I loved it. I really, really wish it would have lasted longer, but. You know, like it was just too far gone. You know, like I mean, what was that one? An 06 or 08? I think it was an 08. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. But I do want something with towing capacity. So at least if I don't have a truck, at least I could put a 4x8. Even though if I could carry like like 1 ton. That's plenty for me. That'll do everything. Then I can get like a U-Haul trailer, put the riding mower in. Once I get that, put all my chainsaws in there. Just got to go somewhere. Okay, well, if I only need a whippersnipper or something like that, okay, I'll take it out of there. But if I need like a bunch of tools, just bring the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like no loading and unloading. Just bring the whole thing, and then that way I don't have to clutter my vehicle up with tools as much. So yeah, there's that. Because like pretty much all my clients have space for me to pull in or back in, with a trailer, whatever, or park on the side, whatever it is I need, I can pretty much do. Yeah, so it's like. Yeah, so there's that. So parking is not a problem there, because I could always do it that way and that way. And then of course, if I have a good riding mower, I'm sure like that'll my one of my clients, like her riding mower, she's the belt comes off in like every 2 seconds. It's done, right? It's really done, right? So. I'm sure she would just say, "Yeah, if you get a riding mower, just cut the grass for me." But she likes to do it though. That's the thing. Like it's just she needs a new riding mower, like big time. Oh, that thing was just a nightmare last year. I don't know how many times I put like 3 belts on it. Is it 3 belts? At least 2 belts on it for sure. Then the cable went for the deck. Raise and lower, I had to put that on there, and it broke, and it was a pain in the ass. And I was surprised though. She got the part for it. Like the thing was like 25 years old, and she still was able to get the proper part for it. That was like, I was blown away by that. I was like, there was no chance in hell. Yeah, somebody's a good person when they can still get parts like that. It's like, okay, if it was me, like I could buy something like that just came out like Wednesday, and by next Wednesday, like the parts are discontinued. You know what I mean? Why? Because the world hates me, right? So it's like it's just that. So but whatever vehicle I do end up with, like it probably won't be till spring. I am going to go bicycle, like the bikes I got. Okay, they were free. They got the job done, but they, like they're so bloody heavy. Like 50-pound bicycles, like people don't realize how much weight makes a difference. Like drag makes a difference. Yes, yeah, I get that. But the weight of your bike really makes a difference, especially when you got a lot of hills. I don't have a lot of hills that I have to go, which is good. So I'm looking at the same thing for next year, like a hybrid bike and a road bike. So at least I have 2. So if I blow a tire on one, and then I'll keep these bikes as backups. I'm going to keep the Maroon Marauder for my nephew anyway. He's not quite tall enough yet. And the other super cycle that I have up there that I've had since 2003, I bought it new for $100. I bought them because they were cheap, not realizing that, like I knew the bike's always been a little bit too small for me. But in the city, like I was never on the bike for more than 30 minutes, 45 minutes at a time on that bike. So it didn't matter. It was set up good enough, same as this. But this, it's an hour and a half to 2 hours on the bike every time I go to work with it, right? And it's labor-intensive work that I do. So if I have to bike home on top of that, like it really, really does make a big difference, right? Especially if you're in work boots and stuff like that. Like, guys, it's and then you got the backpack, and then you got the rain, you got the tractor trailers trying to kill you. Life is fun. Again, my main goal for New Year's Eve resolution for 2026: don't die. That was all it was. I don't know. We'll see how well I do by the end of the year. Oh yeah, it's just is. But whatever I get, like if I get a hybrid, I want something with taller tires just for easier and faster travel, right? I want a bike under 30 pounds. That's the big one. And most of the bikes in the range I'm looking at, like if it's at Walmart or Canadian Tire or like that, it's going to be 40 pounds plus. The lightest I saw was like 31 pounds on one of the bikes that was there. The price was right, but it's just like it was a bike that you bought it, you used it the way it is. You're not going to put any investments in it, right? But like when I do buy a bike, let's say I buy a bike from Canadian Tire, okay? The road bike they had was 36 pounds, right? It was built sturdy, you know. The Canadian Tire one was like 39 pounds or something like that. That's still, it's not great, but you could live with that. It's under 40 pounds. And it's a road bike, right? That's fine. But the thing is that if you get a road bike that's, 30 pounds, 25 pounds, 29 pounds, whatever, and that's a daily rider, that thing's going to fly. That thing's going to fly. It's not going to be competitively fast, but it's going to fly. So if you get a bike that's a semi-gravel bike, and you have, say, 35 millimeter tires on it, okay, that's fine for here. Right? That'll be fine for here. But if I want ultimate comfort, I'm looking at a hybrid. Something that I can sit completely upright, like I do on the Bertha there. Like that bike is super comfortable. It's just it weighs nearly 60 pounds, and I tell you, like it's a 6-speed. It's smooth and like that. Like if that bike weighed half the weight, it would be an absolute dream to ride. I wouldn't care what anybody thought of. Like everybody laughs at me because it's a girl's bike, whatever. But like if that thing was half the weight, it would be such a pleasure to ride it. You just cruise, like who cares how fast you go? And it's not really that slow. Like it has bigger tires than what's on slightly, maybe about an inch or two taller on those tires there because they're big white walls. Very comfortable ride. Than what's on the Moon Marauder, which is just in the living room there or in the kitchen there. It's just as fast, and that's a 15 speed. Mind you, that's geared a lot lower too, probably. But well, no, I don't think so. Because like the cruise gear on the Bertha is pretty slow, but it's still. Like I would say my average, like just comfort speed on that is between 13 and 14 kilometers an hour. So that gets me, if I don't have to pull off the road too much, because as soon as I pull off the road, I'm down to like 7, 8 kilometers an hour, right? Just, because it's just the soft stuff, especially last year when they put all that brand new crushed stone on the sides of the road. That really, really it was so soupy. It's packed now, so it'll be a lot better this year. So it doesn't slow you. Like you go in and you have to fight for every pedal like that. That's just so hard to do that until it packs down, right? So should be packed down good now for when the spring gets here. I've already been out on the bike once. I had to do an hour there and an hour back for the little job. That was hard though. And I have a problem with my shifter. I have to fix my shifter. But I'm going to get that done before the spring. Because, like, I'm probably not going to have a vehicle till then. So I might have to, use the bike a little bit to get back and forth to work. Which I don't mind doing. I really don't mind doing. But when you don't have a proper fitted bike, it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference when it's fitted. It's about 2 inches too short on the front. Right? I can deal with the smaller tires and all that. My seat and leg positioning are perfect. It's just I can't raise the bars anymore because it doesn't. They don't go any higher. But like if I took that bike and put it like say a carbon fiber bar on it, okay, and carbon fiber seat post and whatever I could find cheap carbon fiber seat, that bike could lose a lot of weight. Like for example, like the reflectors and stuff. I can take all that shit off. Yeah. You shouldn't, but like nobody up here is going to bug me about it, right? So, but that said, maybe I'll leave them on. I don't know because I don't cycle at night, but I do cycle in bad weather. So I remember who was it? Yeah, Melissa. Melissa's been my like superhero. She's been every time I'd be coming home, like she see the big gray Dodge pull up, get in, throw the bike in the back, a cab full of her coworkers or whatever. So okay, yeah, yeah. So she's bailed me out a few times. They're just going back and forth like that. So I try to send her work too in that. So because yeah, I think they moved though. They don't live there anymore. Okay, I think they just bought a new house. Uh, her and her husband Brock, yeah. Little baby Fern. Yeah, little baby Fern. Last time I seen him, he was like, I guess he's a little over a year now. Yeah, whatever. I don't think he's two. But anyway, yeah. So good for them. But yeah, so if they move, that means like next year I won't be rescued by Melissa, coming in. But sometimes other people, like my old coworker Carl, he'll see me pile the bike in the back. I just got to push the dogs over. It was like four dogs in the cab. Shoot the shit for him with him for a bit. He's doing well. I can't believe he's still working in the bush after having both ankles broken. He was cutting wood and the logs rolled on him. He was pinned there for like an hour before somebody got him. He kept calling people there and it took about an hour to get. And I asked him how he's doing. I figured by now he'd be retired. He's over 70. He's older than my dad. No. I was cutting some wood the other day, doing this, still doing the scrap metal. Because the man will stop when he dies. You know what I mean? Yeah, but yeah. So, but no, I do want to have some like decent bicycles. Like the thing about the bicycles is I can afford to run them. Barely, but I can afford to run them. It's amazing. Like how does somebody who makes $25 to $30 an hour like struggle? Like okay, I get it that I'm seasonal or whatever, but I worked 3 days this week past. Like I worked yesterday. I'm gonna work again on Sunday. Okay, and then I got I already got prepaid for one little job. But some weeks I've made a couple $100 already. Like I don't think I've made 600 this month so far, but probably at least almost covered my rent anyway. So, but yet I'm still struggling. You know what I mean? Well, what it is you spend $6,200 on a vehicle and you get 11 months out of it. That hurts. That hurts bad. And then like just vehicles breaking down all the time. The insurance. It's all the little $2 here, the $4 there that really gets you, right? Like I don't know what it costs to live comfortably. Like you'd probably have to make at least a minimum $4,000 to $5,000 a year, or a month. A month to live comfortably. That's probably what it costs to live comfortably nowadays. Like at the level I live. No, I'm not talking the people that like I don't know how anybody in the city does it. Like I don't know how anybody like $1,800 a month rent, stuff like that. Like you still get the odd place that the rent is not too bad, but like it's crazy. It's wrong. Like I mean $800 for a hydro bill, and mine was lower than what my buddy's was. His was like over 1,000. You know what I mean? Like I mean that's crazy. Electric heat. So like hopefully next year I'll have a wood stove in here, and whatever. That'll cut down my hydro usage. But if I'm really lucky, like I mean, if it's going to be $800 every 2 months in the wintertime, okay, so there's like 4 months. Well, it's hard to say what it's going to be because you see, I came in here in September, so November. Okay, the first one was in November. Was it? And that was just about 400. It wasn't 400. No. November. When did I pay? Yes, that's right. That's right. It was I got here in September, but the hydro bill wasn't in my name until. That's right. There was no hydro here until October. So October, November, December. Yes, that's right. So December I paid the first bill, and that was like about $400. Now, mind you, that's already the heat coming on, right? And now January, February, that's the second 2 months. That's 800. So March, April. My brother always said the February and the April bill are the two high ones. So it'll probably be $800 again. unless the tail end of March is like really mild, I can start shutting the heat off in here. Just keep one heater going, right? So like today it's 0. I should probably shut all the heat off, but you know, is what it is, right? Um, so let's say I spent $800 a year on off-grid technology. I already have 2 power inverters, okay, but you see the problem is like with like to run heaters and stuff like that, you can't do it on the on power inverters like cheap Canadian Tire power inverters. You can't do it like that. But the thing is what you pay in a hydro bill, you could probably set up an off-grid system in here. But I need either 220 for the hot water tank and the pump. I'll have to look at, like, for example, like 12-volt sailboat washers and dryers, right? Stuff like that. 12-volt stuff, so that I could just run everything, and then maybe convert my stove to gas or something like that. I could always do that. And the water pump. Well, that you need some severe ampage to be able to run that. So I'll have to look at some off-grid technology, because it might actually be worth it for me to cancel my hydro bill, and just for say 3 years worth of hydro bill, I could be completely off-grid with wind and solar. Like, okay, I know a lot of people, wind and solar don't work, whatever. Yeah, on mass grid it doesn't work, but for individual homes it does, if you set it up right. So the batteries are expensive, everything like that. But for what you pay for the batteries, what you pay for the, like if I have, say, a battery bank of 10 batteries or 12 batteries, that'd probably be enough power to leave the baseboard heaters. Let's say they're 1,500-watt baseboard heaters each. Okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heaters in here. Depending on what their amp drawing is. It could be done. It could be done as long as you have the capacity and the ability to basically like let's say it's $5,000 a year, 4,800 to $5,000 a year for hydro here, right? But I spent $3,000 a year on off-grid technology for the next, say, 3 to 5 years. Well, in 5 years, this place, like again, like no hydro bill, who cares, right? And just just keep saving up, so when a battery does go, you can, it is doable, because it's not like I run so much stuff, like like in the summertime. Well, daytime, like the lights are pointless in here in the daytime. I got a window. My grandfather really was smart with the windows in here. Like it's like windows all around. Like there's, and I could always add a skylight at some point too if I really wanted to go like really ape shit with it, which would be cool. Like 2 skylights, that would be really cool. And I was thinking of putting like solar powered venting on the roof for the summer. That would be good. Like again, like I was very surprised last year just by opening that hatch how it solved all my airflow problems. It sucked all the bad air out of the basement into here and then out through the, and I thought I was going to have to do something like elaborate, what you call it, piping scheme to be able to get airflow through the house. Because remember when I moved in here, like everything was awesome. But my brother never opened the windows except for the last 2 weeks that he was in here. The air conditioner broke, so he had that window open. So God knows how bad it was without that. And that was during the heat wave too, right? But he kept the basement door like jammed shut tight, right? So all that nasty moisture just stayed lingering in the basement with all that moldy smell, and then with the dogs and everything like that, which the dogs are gone now. One passed away and they got rid of the other one. So now it's just 2 cats up there. Squirrels everywhere, but two cats. And down here it's just one squirrel. And Rover. I recognized the cat finally that was in there. It was Rover. My nephew and I call him Rover. He's a stray cat. We just call him Rover. Why Rover? Because everybody calls their dogs Rover. Nobody ever called. Maybe did anybody ever think that maybe a cat wants to be called Rover? Come on now. Have some dignity here. So we got a cat named Rover. He's a big cat too. He's a big tomcat, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So when I got down here, everything was like stuffed up, right? Like the wall shrank, like the whole house. Like it's 20% humidity in here right now, guys. Like even my ceiling is not sagging as much. Like things have tightened up. Like even my nephew noticed it because it was just there was so much moisture and everything, right? All the furniture and everything like that. So yeah, the floor linoleum and all that. So I keep the basement door open all the time. You go down, you could probably safely sleep in the basement. I wouldn't recommend it, but like you go down there, you don't smell anything. Like the bricks down there, the walls are dry, right? So what happened is he left the moisture in so much that that's where the problem was, starting, right? Like most mold is a moisture problem. I talked about it, and I haven't really found that much mold in here, to be honest with you. Like nothing that really is alarming. Like this house is not like it's old. It's old and rickety, but it's the house itself. It'll outlast myself and probably my nephew. If people just take care of it the way I'm taking care of it, you know. But the thing is that like next spring, I would like to give this place a splash of paint. It's been when did we paint this for my grandmother? Better part of 20 years ago since it last painted. I mean, we got to do some painting up there. Up there too for the upstairs. It's due. It's due. But yeah, so it's like yeah, airing everything out has made a big difference. So like I say, when I opened up the hatch and that solved almost all the problems. Like I say, 6-8 months. It takes about 6-8 months to really air out a place, right? So like I don't smell anything. You know what I mean? Even with this chair, if you put your nose right to it, yeah, you can smell it a bit still, but it's nowhere near what it was. And I'm gonna get some products to do with it. Cause I like this chair; it's comfy, right? But if I get another chair that's like completely, completely, like scent free or whatever, and it's as comfy as this one, I'll ditch this one for that one. There's nothing wrong with this chair. Like I leave it air out. You throw baking powder on it there for like a night or two. It sucks all the smell out of it pretty good, right? Which I'm gonna have to do that again, just to do it maybe once every 2 months. Spider webs. It's almost spider webbing time again. Yeah, it's definitely almost spider webbing time again. Not as bad as what it was, but so about every 3 months, I guess I should do my spider webs, uh, mopping and stuff like that, Javixing and all that. I still got a lot of cleanup left to do in the basement, like for sweeping up and stuff. I'll do that in the spring because if I'm gonna sweep and make it all dusty and everything like that, I'll wait. And plus, if I can get one investment I'm gonna make in this place is a good shop vac. That little shop vac works, but I can't get bags for it. And that's what my brother was saying. Like he went everywhere, and like there's just no bag that fits it. So maybe I have to make the bag. I don't know. But shop vacs, like I mean, 150 bucks, you buy yourself a shop vac, and it's good for 20 years. You know what I mean? I'll make the investment. All the other stuff like the air purifiers and all that stuff. Like I was considering that big time, but I think it's just a matter of just cleaning the place. You know what I mean? Like I gotta wait to do the spring cleaning. I got boxes on the floor and all that stuff, and yeah, sure, okay. The deck I gotta clean it again. I ran out of time to get all that done before the snow fell, and it's like okay, well, there's no rush. I mean, next year the deck is going to be nice and sorted out, cleaned off. Once I get the barn's all completely clean, like maybe I put the motorbike out in the barn. Um, like I'm gonna store my cousin. I told him I meant to tell him this year to do it, but like my uncle's four wheeler, he has it right. He's got it covered up, but I said, I said I made room in the barn for you. I didn't get around to telling you, or like the stable. I still got to clean all that out, but uh, you know. So I got lots of cleanup. Once I do all the cleanup around the barns and the stable and everything like that, and all the property, like the upkeep's going to be normal. Like okay, I'll have to cut the grass. I'll cut the grass like every 2 weeks. If I basically brush cut the briars and everything once a year, that's good enough. That'll keep all the stuff down. Like once I clean out that ditch there, that'll be. There might be one tree, maybe two trees that I'm going to have a hard time really clearing out because they're into the hydro line. But other than that, and once I get all the shrubs done, the apple tree trimmed, uh, May on, I can start trimming my apple tree and stuff like that. Like I'm going to do so much next year. Like I was talking with my client yesterday about our gardens and stuff like that. And yeah, she's excited too for this year. And I told her, I promised everybody a bag of chicken poop, so I'm gonna give her some too for for her garden there. She has John built it for her. It's basically all like boards like this, and it's like a pool. It looks like a pool with like a wedge cut out so that you can walk in, and right in the center there's a composter, and then you fill all the rest. They do this in Africa. It's a permaculture thing, right? So she was telling me she's going down to learn about some like how to grow mushrooms and stuff like that. The person in Wakefield teaches them like the wild mushrooms and all that. She goes, "I'll tell you everything when I." Because like she knows a lot about plants, like what you can eat, what you can't. She's an old hippie lady, so I'm trying to get as much information as I can from her, as possible. So yeah, I'll tell you everything. I learned a lot from these little old ladies, believe it or not, when it comes like how to do soil mixes and stuff like you have to see this, guys. Like my main client, Linda, her dad was a renowned botanist, right? Okay, now I for years have tried to grow stuff in pails, except for 1 2 pound radish that I left over the winter. Other than that, most stuff doesn't do well. She will have, now mind you, she has the ultimate greenhouse too, but she will have those little black, maybe 6 8 inch round, 10 inch round at the most. That okay, and she'll have a 9 foot tall, full size steak tomatoes to the rafters, just because of the soil mix she does. Um, I'll show you all that. I got to pick up some stuff too, but I'll show you what she does. Like you go and you buy some soil and you think you got it good, but no, you got to mix a lot of she mixes everything in there so that you have a bit of clay, you have a bit of like you put a rusty nail in your rusty can, right? And that rust it puts iron into like the old timers knew all this stuff, right? And it works. And then she uses bone meal. She uses 3-in-1 mix, some sort of a manure, whether it's sheep, whatever. My other client is shrimp compost. She really likes that. Some of that big peat you mix in a can of that, and I mix it all in the wheelbarrow for her because like she's got bad shoulders, bad arms, right? So she's over 80, right? Uh, so it's a lot of heavy lifting, right? But I'll make this mix, and you gotta see like the peppers, like the peppers are that big, guys. I'm looking at this. I'm just like, okay, I know the greenhouse has a lot to do with it, but in a pot like that, you know what I mean? So even if I get half the size and half the yield she gets, it's way more than I'll ever eat in a lifetime. You know what I mean? Like I want to do a lot of canning next year. I know my sister-in-law wants to get into the canning next year too. I've got the jars. The jars are not the problem. I've got tons of jars. What I need instead is like the lids. I got to go buy a lot of lids. But what I also want to do this year coming is like say, get more oxygen absorbers and stuff like that for my preps. Like the idea too. Like right now, like I don't eat anything down. I don't cook down here, whatever. Yes, I do have to make a not only bookshelves in here, but like a liquor cabinet type of thing. I got to do that too. But I got a lot of projects that I'm going to have going this summer when I'm out there to get everything set up and get the skill saw out. All you're going to hear all summer around here is like skill saws and chainsaws and whippersnippers. That's all you're going to hear around here. My aunt and uncle, they're ecstatic every time they see me running around with a chainsaw. They're like, "Yeah, cut whatever you want, cut it all, cut it all." It's like, take it all down. Yeah, so I'm going to clear that back line there. I'm going to leave that giant elm though, because that's really nice. And then that whole line there, they're about 16 to 20 bucks a pop. So I'll see if I can get at least 5 things of grapes. I'm going to start a grapevines there. Like morning to night sun, guys. Like it's not going to get any better than that. My grapevine up there, well, it's it's there. Like I'll keep it going. But it's not a great spot up there. Like that grapevine should be like 100 times longer than what it is. But this one, I'm gonna have a grapevine the whole way around the freaking property, and it'll grow too. It'll grow too. There's no doubt about that. Like I want this place to look like the Garden of Eden when I'm done. That's my goal. That's my goal. So at least that way, if my grandmother's looking down on it, she'll say, "Well, you didn't screw it up too bad." I like those flowers. I got to trim all the lilac bushes. I got to really trim those good. Because they're, and then the black walnut, which I was going to enjoy some black walnut this winter. Mervyn. But anyway, yeah. So a lot of projects coming up. Maybe I get lucky and my book does really well and I can be independently wealthy enough and just spend all my time down here just doing stuff. And yeah, that'd be great. Anyway, there we go.